run through my soul. Bring me wisdom and peace. Run through all ages and all of life's stages. You bring me around to find my release. Run, river, run through the hill.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to Be My Guest. Today we have back encore appearance by our favorite sci-fi dude, Keith Carreiro. Hi, Keith.
Hey, Jan.
Keith has a new book out in part of his trilogy series. Keith, tell us about it. Let's hold it up.
It's this one right here.
Yep. All right. Let's see. All right. Then the first two, and then we have the third one. Tell us about it.
I'm looking at it, and it's kind of a miracle to me that the third book is out. Basically, in the first 3 books, this is the first trilogy out of 9 books. Nine-book trilogy is called Enealogy.
Is there such a thing as a trilogy with 9 books?
Yeah, it's called an Enealogy.
Okay, so it keeps going 3, 3, 3.
Correct.
Well, why not just make it 9? Make it a nineology. What am I missing?
Enealogy, yeah.
Enealogy. Sounds like it should be nineology.
Well, that's probably true.
Why do I feel like this is
We could create something then.
Burns and Allen?
Nineology.
It's still the Immortality Wars and The Penitent Part 3. Now, if you're a sci-fi fan, you're going to love it. You're going to be at that December 7th Expo.
Authors Expo, yeah.
Yeah, the one over in Rhode Island, in Cranston, at the Roads on the...
Patuxent.
Yeah, I was going to say the Pacific, on the Patuxent. And he has a... Well, you're going to see this, Paul. If you could zero in on these fantastic sites, you can't miss Keith Carreiro at that Authors Expo. Let me tell you. What time does it go for?
I think it's like 10 to 5.
But
don't quote me.
It is enormous. Absolutely enormous. Now, you did the cover, or did your illustrator?
My illustrator did the cover, yes.
Now, this one that Paul is zeroing in on was the... Was that, I can't see the... Was that the first or the second?
First.
That was the first one. We talked about that when Keith was on. Now he's going to show you the second, which is the one right over there. Can you get that one, Paul? No, not yet. We're still focusing on the first one. He's got these huge, fantastic signs, and if you're going to an expo, this is the kind of author you want to zero in on, because you can see
You can stay on that sign if you want. And I can tell you a little bit about it that hardly anybody knows.
Go ahead.
What I was trying to do was imitate the work of Maxfield Parrish. Parrish was very famous in the 30s and 40s, maybe the 20s, as an illustrator. And he did these amazing color illustrations that are magical to me. I guess he would rival. I think he rivaled Norman Rockwell at the time. Usually, it would be a mythological theme. You'd see Grecian porticos or columns in back. Just the colorization is stunning. So I wanted to get something like that. And so I went to Hollis Mahala, and although she does watercolors, I asked her, "Do you think you can do something similar?" And so we talked more about it, and she said, "Well, what's one of the main characters?" I said, "Well, one of the main characters is a copper beech tree or copper beech trees, and they're called the sentinels of the forest." And so she came up with that.
She's the one who came up with it. And it's been featured on, now the second one is right over here. You're going to think that's all Keith really is here. We're not just focusing on that. You sort of swipe by him as you go. But yeah, this was his second one. Right here, Paul, that one right there. We're gonna get it. And it's got that same tree on it, right? It's got the same...
It's got the trees on it, yes. There's more than one there.
Yeah, no, you've had you've had the one, and then now you've got more.
It's actually from a scene in the book, in part 2, where Evangel meets somebody. Also, Paul is at a stream. This is actually the Forgotten River. And he has a big introduction to John Savage, who I thought they were going to kill. One of them was going to kill the other, but they end up being sort of colleagues.
So this is the third one. What's this one? Don't give it away, but what's it basically about?
It's about these guys. John Savage and Paul Warren get separated from one another in the first book. Second book is about Evangel. So in the first book, something happens to Paul at a farmstead, along with Savages as well, where a monster overtakes them, and just all hell literally breaks loose. So they separate, and the remainder of book part 1 is Paul trying to get back in touch with Savage. And so he's on an adventure. But that doesn't happen. In the third book, it's a continuation of his search for Savage. And what happens to him on the way, he meets a Cooper by the name of Cooper, and his family, his wife and 2 daughters, twins, and they form a very close bond with one another. But something terrible happens to them. That same demon basically wreaks havoc with them, and Paul saves them.
He saves it.
Yeah.
Is it going to be? This is it for this trilogy, right? For this 9-ology. This is for
Well, something happens to Paul at the end, where kind of like the perils of Pauline, where you think, well, that's it. And I'm just saying, no, that can't be it, because there's 6 more books coming.
Okay, so there are 6. Now, you wanted to talk about, there's a whole new tact you wanted to take. Go tell us about that.
Well, first, can we show this?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, we've got more. Here, let me hold it up for you. You go ahead.
This is for the first trilogy. This is the setting of the first trilogy. And I worked with Jamie Forgetta, a Rhode Island illustrator. We started working on this in December of 2018, and we finished the last week of July 2019, coming up with this. That it doesn't seem possible that it would take that long, but it did, because I was trying to say, all right, so we're talking about an archipelago similar to like the Philippines, but it kind of reminds you of Great Britain, Ireland, and Scotland.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where Paul is from.
Yep.
And that's Westfunland. And the Western Isles are on the left. That's where Evangel is from.
You created all this.
Correct.
In your mind.
Yes. Yeah. And we came up with the names of the mountain chains, which I think is really cool, like the Valravn Range. The Valravn is a raven that's eaten the heart of a king, and it becomes a very feisty, demonic beastie with the knowledge of a king, the strength of a wolf, and the intelligence of, a celestial, I guess you'd say.
Keith, you were always into sci-fi, basically, weren't you, as a kid, too?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did these things come to you as a kid? When
Yeah, it used to scare the hell out of me. I mean, I used to watch The Twilight Zone, and sometimes, or The Outer Limits, and
you didn't. Well, that.
love the storytelling. But
now, tell us what you've got thinking about coming in the future.
Okay, so this realm that you see here is a simulation. So it's such the technology that it created is so phenomenal that it's just the way we feel right now. We hear the truck backing up.
Sure. Yeah. We're right outside the.
We hear the cars on the road, vehicles on the road outside, the sunlight, the lights from the, to brighten up the room so Paul can take good pictures.
Yeah.
Cups of water, everything has the feel. That's what this hyper reality has for these guys. But in the first 3 books, I'm writing in the past tense.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, in the 4th book, you jump into the present time, which
the third
is
book, you mean?
Well, at the very end, at the epilogue.
Okay.
Yeah, you jump into the present, which is
Okay.
2562, the 26th century. So I've been doing all this summer, besides getting this ready, is I've been doing research for the next 3 books. And it's going to occur in the Orion Spur of the Milky Way galaxy, which is where our solar system is.
And that's for real.
Yes,
Okay. The Iron Spur section.
Orion.
Orion. Iron Spur. Orion. I got it.
Yeah.
Shows you how much I know about the galaxy. But my 6-year-old grandson sure knows. He right out there. He knows it all. I bet you do. I bet you know every planet Didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I bet that in school science was
Yeah.
like this for you.
I liked it, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should have all seen this coming.
Yeah.
Your parents must have said, uh-oh.
My son Eli was so filled with this stuff that he studied physics and abstract mathematics at what's the name of the university up there in Troy, New York? Rensselaer.
Mm-hmm.
And he got his master's degree as well in it. He, ever since he was a little boy, he wanted to go smash atoms at the CERN facility in Switzerland.
Did he finally go?
No, he met some people from New York City in the fraternity he was with, and they convinced him to take all that mathematical knowledge and use it in investments.
Before we go any further, Keith is a professor at Bridgewater State College, or State University now.
Right.
Ironically, my parents and I lived practically right across the street in the west, what is it called? Waterford Village. It's a condo apartment complex. We lived across there. And I remember I had to go by the college every time I went downtown. I remember that. What do you teach over there?
I'm a part-time adjunct faculty, and I teach English. But they let me also teach seminar courses where I can create the courses.
Yeah.
So I'll combine literature, philosophy, the cinema, and music together.
And writing?
And it's writing intensive.
You'd be a great, to help future authors learn how to write more, the writer's group type of thing. All right, keep going with what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, so what I had to do was I had to create an understanding or a history of 500 years from this point, 2019, to 2562.
Yeah.
So I put together a timeline. I imagined a timeline that actually goes back 12,000 years. And then I said, this is the movement of the diaspora that's happening from the Earth because we pretty well messed up the Earth. So we couldn't live on it. So those that could do so moved off planet. And they move into 12 power bases. So I have their names. I have also subcategory names of other places where they are. Mm-hmm. So I put together the different countries of the world and their regions, and they constitute the 12 power bases. So I've also created the leaders of these power bases and the language they speak. And I also know where Paul is going to end up in one of those 12 power bases.
How do you find the time, Keith? Besides being a professor and writing all this, you know all this stuff right off the top. Where are you finding the time to write? All night?
This is interesting. I learned. I'm going to go way back. It's like Jerry Lewis in a movie. Let's go way back, and you see him as a baby. I'm not going to go that far back. I used to have a lot of nightmares when I was a child.
Yeah. And
I'd get stuck in the dream and I couldn't wake up. And I would end up in my parents' bed.
Yeah.
And my mother, who was a nurse, she's a World War II nurse, she said to me, we can't keep having this happen.
Yeah.
You belong in your own bed. So she said, when you have this dream, you need to teach yourself you're in a dream.
Yeah.
And you need to say, okay, I'm in a dream, wake up. Well, I did that, and it worked.
Could you go back into the dream after you woke up? I can.
Yeah, but I don't want to do it if it's a nightmare.
No.
Yeah, so I use that same technique to use as a way of getting information for the books.
Yeah, and you wrote them down.
Yeah, because I'll dream a section of or an idea of the next trilogy, and I'll write it down. For example, I had Paul in another simulation where they were trying to kill him off, where he was going up different ramps up a mountainside, and they were using javelins that were electrified. And so when you tossed it, it would explode or would do a variety of things. So I had the colors down, the heft of it.
As a kid, you had this all down? Or was it later?
This is later.
Okay.
Yeah, this is later. I'm using what my mom taught me.
It's very quick. I wonder, did you ever, I'm not kidding, I have a friend who is in the Mensa Society. Have you ever thought of taking the test to get in that? Because you're...
No.
I bet.
What happens if you're a woman? Would you be Womensa?
No, it's the Mensa Society. Oh. Okay, I went online. I thought, just for kicks and giggles. I went on, and I was boom, 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 boom. You know what got me? I got fed up and tired and bored trying to figure a few things out, and I went, Now, if I really applied myself, maybe I could. So it was getting too intense, like, so-and-so's got so many apples. Now you're going to take that away, and they're going to New Jersey, and this one and that. No. I mean, I probably, if I had the patience, I might make it.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for things like
No,
that.
well, but you've got to have patience for what you write.
This is different.
Yeah. Well, this is huge imagination.
This is totally different.
Now, your family, how about do they like your books? Do they read them?
Family has them. They've read them. They kind of scratch their head and wonder why.
Who are you?
What the hell are you doing here?
Who is he?
Yeah, where did this come from? And I go like that.
So you've already been doing over the summer the 3 books coming up, right? 3 more. What are those going to be called?
The Pilgrim.
Okay, starting with a 1, 2, 3, or just continuing on?
Be 4, 5, 6.
The Pilgrim.
But actually, be the Pilgrim Part 1, Pilgrim Part 2, Pilgrim Part 3.
But it's all part of the same trilogy.
Yeah. So in the first book,
Mm-hmm.
a little girl calls Paul. She's 3 years old. Pilgrim.
Okay.
And it kind of sticks.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought I would, because this is what happened. He gets transformed into the 26th century, so he's a pilgrim now. He's in a totally different world. It's kind of like, I can hear John Wayne's voice. I'm not going to hit you, pilgrim. The hell I ain't. You know, that
Were
kind
you
of
a
thing.
John Wayne fan?
I enjoyed him. But there's that. But when you think of somebody like that and the what John Ford created out of his character, even the way he walked and stuff.
Yeah, the swagger.
Yeah. I'm not saying that Paul Warren has this same kind of swagger, but he, in a sense, what Wayne is talking about is our sense of pilgrims or a pilgrimage, that the American experience is a pilgrimage from all different parts of the world. And it touches on certain Christian understandings too, that we are in a world that is pretty rough, and that we're walking between the valley of the shadow of death, and that we're pilgrims in it. So I always thought that was kind of cool, and I thought it was kind of nice to be able to, out of the mouth of a 3-year-old, to call this warrior a pilgrim. You know.
Keith, how can they get your book?
You can go on my website, which is www.immortalitywars.com, and get it that way, or you can go on Amazon Books and get it either in ebook form, Kindle, or paperback.
Where have you been appearing? Well, we lost contact over the summer somewhat. Where have you've been working on your books, right?
Yeah, I've been actually. Where have I been appearing? I've been doing some book signings. I kind of laid low to get this done because there's only so much time. Like
But don't forget, the holiday season is coming
I
up.
got to gear up. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be at Tatnook Bookseller.
When?
September. Hang on.
Finally. Don't forget to take the big room in the back.
Oh yeah.
And put up your signs, like one right in the entranceway and one down by the room, to get people's attention. Definitely.
I have to put my glasses
We're talking
on.
with Keith Carreiro, and he is a champion sci-fi author. He's got a trilogy. Actually, it's a ninology. I don't know, a unology. And it's a series of immortality wars. And it's pretty amazing. I don't know how you do it. I just don't.
I'm going to be at Tatnook on September 7th at 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock.
1 to 3. Is that a Saturday?
Yes.
Okay, on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Like I said, get the big room. Don't just settle for sitting out front with a table of people maybe walking by you. Do they know you're going to be talking about it and all?
Yes.
Okay. I suggest highly when you walk... Have you been over to Tatnook yet?
Yes.
Okay. When you walk in that door, you see a lot of girl stuff, I know, jewelry and everything. Have this at the door. Have a arrow going, meet the author.
Oh, that's a good idea.
And then have this right at the entrance to the big room. Okay? You got to get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, and make your chairs set up so it looks inviting.
Yeah. They made a nice ad, too, for it.
Yeah.
And on the 23rd, I'm going to be at Blackstone Public Library.
Oh, good. You finally got there. Yep,
Yeah.
she's terrific.
Yeah. Where else?
How about some holiday upcoming fairs and festivals?
Lively Literati. I'm going to be at the East Greenwich Hotel in Greenwich, Rhode Island.
When's that?
That's the 25th.
Okay.
In the evening, 6:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So you're booked through September, basically.
Yeah.
All right.
What else are we doing?
So now, if you want to see him over at Tatnock, you can meet him in person. You can give him the devil if you don't like his books. So,
I'm gonna,
all right.
I'm going to be at the Mendon Lions Fair with.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what date is that?
October 12th.
Okay. That's at the Blessing Barn over in Mendon, right off of Route 16.
I'm going to be at the Boston Book Festival on October 19th. That's a Saturday.
Yeah.
And let's see. Yeah, Lively Literati, I'm going to be there October 30th. Greenwich Hotel.
Where did I write that down about? Okay, you're going to be over at Tatnock on the 7th,
September.
coming up September 7th, Saturday, from 1 to 3. Okay. Don't be looking at that too much. We want to see you, not them.
Yeah.
All right. So, people right in the area, general areas. Tatnock over in Westboro, 1 to 3 on Saturday, September 7th. You won't miss his signs. Go find him in the big room in the back. And then another one that's local is coming up is the Blackstone Library on September 23rd. What time? 7 maybe at night?
I think so.
That's what I was there, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got the Mendon Lions Club, their fair coming up, October 12th. Is that a Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, and that's right off of Route 16 at the Blessing Barn in Mendon. So, I mean, you get to meet him. There's a whole bunch of places you can meet him, and he'll talk your ear off. He is so excited about what he writes.
That's known as a valuable author.
Yes. And boy, if you go to the December
Loquacious
7th.
is a polite way of
Exactly. The December 7th over in Rhode Island at in Cranston at the Rhode Island Rhode Island Authors Expo. And it's in Cranston at the on the roads. Pawtucket on the roads? Roads on the Pawtucket.
Yeah.
Huge. Almost like a ballroom. Who were there? How many authors were there with last one?
There were about 140 plus authors there last year.
And there are people waiting to get in.
I think actually 145, I heard.
I don't know how many of my authors are still waiting to get in over there. They're waiting. What do they wait for? Somebody to say they can't make it? Is that,
Yes.
What are the odds?
Fairly decent.
Really? People
Yeah.
aren't going to show up?
I know they'll pay. It's odd because they'll pay for the table and they can't make it. So that allows somebody else on the waiting list to come.
You can share a table too at that space.
I think so. I don't know about that though.
Well, you've got a nice big table to yourself.
Yeah, I'm selfish.
I'm thrifty. What is it? What is it if you're an author? What is it to pay to get the table?
It depends. I can't. I actually don't. I don't remember. I think it's $40.
All right. So if you want a buddy with you, which cool, does something different, so you're not in competition, that's $20 each. I still say have someone. You're alone there. So when you've got to go to the John or you want to walk around, what do you do? What are you doing?
I get up and walk around. I'm getting a reputation for doing that because.
People are looking for you and you're gone.
Yeah, and I'm gone. But I did that last year at the Rhode Island Comic Con.
You left your post?
Well, there were people there, but yeah, because I'd never been to a Comic Con before.
Yeah.
It was massive. It's the Dunkin' Donut Convention Center in Providence.
Yeah.
And there were floor after floor filled with science fiction, fantasy people in costume. Some of the tables that they have there, they conjoin. They're paying $3,000 for a table space.
What?
You should see it. So I'd never experienced anything like that. So I was just awed, and I just walked around, and I actually did a 5-minute video on my Facebook.
So
Of
you
this.
walk. That's going to be. I'll bet you'll go back again.
Yeah, I'm going back
Take someone with you so you can walk around.
November 1st to 3rd.
All right. Make sure that there's somebody at your table so you can, walk around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually didn't do badly in sales, though. But I got a reputation for being,
AWOL.
going on a walkabout.
Okay. Keith's latest one, part 3 of the Immortality Wars, The Penitent. How can they get your book?
Amazon, or go on my website, immortalitywars.com.
True sci-fi. And will there be a copy downstairs at the library?
No, because you're going to get that copy.
Okay, and then we'll bring it to the library afterwards. So, give us time to read it, and then we bring it here. We donate it here. And you get to see it firsthand. But you want to meet him firsthand because he is something. When we first met you, you were an excellent talker. I mean, you and Paul went on for how long?
Quite a while.
Well, Paul's a big sci-fi fan.
Yeah.
Paul is our video technician here at Camera. Hi, Paul. And he absolutely loves sci-fi. I don't get it too much, but he loves it. I like a little. I did Star Wars, Star Trek. That's probably about as much as I get to.
Right. It's very difficult to define science fiction, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one agrees on the definition.
What's your definition?
Well, I tend to be in that camp. It's very difficult to identify it because you can have science fiction in a time warp, and so you can go back like Star Trek,
Yeah.
where Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner go back into to the Earth, and
Yeah.
they're dealing with whales.
Yeah. Oh, they were dressed as gangsters. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
So that's science fiction too.
Yeah.
Or there was one with I can't remember the stars, but there was one with aliens and cowboys. Who was in that? That was excellent too. So, I mean, here you're combining a western
Yeah.
with aliens, and yet it's science fiction.
Well, big right now is it drives a lot of people who are just sci-fi or the old school sci-fi. You go to the library, and some of the libraries put sci-fi fantasy on the side of the book because fantasy now, especially with the young adults, the millennials, it's big.
Yes.
Fantasy, but yours is I don't know. I don't qualify yours as fantasy, so I don't know.
It's fantastical in the sense of what happens, and
Yeah.
because you have, for example, in the second book, Evangel dreams about this mother wolf who is delivering a litter, and she sees in her vision that only 3 survive.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes and finds where they are and gets the 3 pups, but they're little tiny wolves. There's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
They're stunted.
Mm.
So she calls them Whimper, Wheezer, and Whisper.
Oh.
And because each one has, like Whisper is like whispering,
Yeah.
Whimper is like that, and Wheezer has a cough.
Yeah.
So that's what she names them. And it ends up, though, that it's kind of very C.S. Lewis type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
that these creatures end up becoming. They enter a vortex. Each one of them.
They survive.
Well, yeah, and they become a tornado, and out of the tornado comes a great king, and the great kings are giving to Evangel gifts of power and prophecy and spiritual understanding that is far beyond someone her age.
You far beyond you.
So
You go way beyond.
that's a fantasy. That's a fantasy element.
Yeah.
Then when they come back, they're now huge gray wolves.
Yeah.
That they're no longer going to stay with them,
Yeah.
and so that's like a fantastical element that's in here.
So we got about 2 minutes. Keith, when will the beginning of your next books be out?
I don't know. I'm hoping to spend the next 2 to 4 months plotting the next 3 books, finishing that,
Yeah.
and then I'm hoping that by next year at this time I'll have the
You'll have it.
manuscript done.
We'll have the name. But you can also get this on Amazon, right?
Correct.
Number 3, if you were reading the first one, and after we get done, we will put it in the library downstairs. And we're going to have him back on again. You better believe it, because there's a lot of sci-fi fans out there. I don't know where I've been all my life, but I don't know. I think it starts to lose me if I don't feel like, give me, I don't know, true crime or something psychological. That type. I love that type of stuff. The whodunit. Like, let's go get them. We were just talking about The Godfather when Keith came in, and Keith was sharing some very. We won't go into it, but you play guitar, and I'm not going to give you all the details. But without knowing it, he was doing a gig many, many years ago, and he basically walked into a, let's say, a Cosa Nostra facility, and there you go. You got out of that one.
Very educational.
Yeah, he got that one, boy. Let me tell you. Thank you, Keith, for being with us.
Thanks. It's always great to be here.
Hopefully, we're going to make it to the December 7th, and if I can, on September 7th, maybe it's 1 to 3 at Tatnuck, right?
Yes.
Maybe we can stop in and see you. I hope usually she's pretty good about getting the word out in the newspaper, because I watch for those.
They did a nice ad as well.
All right. But you can do what you want too. You can put flyers all over the place. Have you got one with you?
No,
Oh, you
sorry.
don't? Oh, all
I
right.
should have brought one though. My bad.
No, what you could do is send it to me, and we'll copy it and put it up.
Okay.
We'll get it out there as to where he's going to be. If you really want to see him, you really will. This guy's mind is always going. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time and be my guest.